I thank you for joining this, because I have very few people that I can share this about, because when you will speak about God, you know, many people like don't go deeper that like we do. So in my life, I always have this issue that I can never go deep into reflection, because within ourselves we are limited. When we put this out into conversation, it creates like a momentum. So hopefully uh, I could I can translate everything that came to my mind, and I have my notes here. Maybe I can share it with you. So they are a bit strange, and I know you like strange. So so it's the first man that popped up in my mind. So ask Balazs, maybe he can work it out as well, So let's work it out together. And so I thank you for that. So the title that I made here on my notes is "What is God?" And I mean, what is not a mistake. It's not a who. It's a what. So what is God? And when we think about God, we say, okay, the supreme intelligence or creator. He is the first cause of all things. He is everywhere, in everything, in everyone. And I truly meditated on this, and I have been meditating on this in particular. What is God? What is God? How can I understand him better? I will never understand him fully. So, but I try to go above my limitations of today. So, what came to my mind is this. Could it be that we are looking in the wrong place? When we think about God, we see something that is very big, when eventually he is the smallest. So imagine this. It might be the word supreme be referring to the smallest. So we define it like molecules, for example, and not the biggest of all things. Like when you think about the universe, God is like with his hands catching the universe, and he is the creator. I think in this sentence that he is everywhere, in everything, in everyone. He is not above, he is into it. So, and this is very, how can we put this in a perspective of a human being? How can we make it more real and not too superstitious, So when we think about the smallest things, let's say a cell, and from a cell it became an organ, it became a baby, it became a human being, and the human being, look what he created. He's the image of God. He's a creator in a way, in his own material thing. So if we think about the largest, if we are seeing God as the largest, if we think about the largest building on earth, look how small is the creator of that. So we see the building, which is huge, but we don't see the creator of it because it's small. So who is the best, the building or the creator of the building? The intelligence is not in the building, it's in the creator that created the building. So what I was thinking is this. Could be that God is the essentials of the universe. Could be that God, he is similarly to the periodic table we know today. The elements that maybe we are still yet to discover. And if we think about what are we made of, like in minerals, in vitamins, in proteins, in fats, in carbohydrates, they are all made of elements which are everywhere, in everything, in everyone. So if you think in anything, there are the elements. And today that I am more studying the human body, we are not just the mind or the brain or the spirit. The body also has its own intelligence. And it's not only about this body, this is a community. When you pull just one hair from the thousands you have, there is a signal. It's telling you, in its own language, which is pain. We can define it as pain. And you are trying to pull me. Do you understand that I am a living cell? So when we discuss about intelligence, this is not about the brain, it's about all the smallest things that are intelligent. And together they make a bigger intelligence like we are today as human beings. So it is extraordinary, because how can you interpret something so much big in something so much small? So what is your point of view?
Beautiful thoughts. I stopped a long time ago to try to understand. Baha'u'llah says that we have no capacity to ever understand the reality of God. So I don't meditate on it, focus on it. I just embrace it. Now, I do believe that God is in everything and in everywhere. The smallest particle or the largest, it's all, as you said, it's basically the creator, the absolute. Now, it's a question of, which was earlier, the egg or the chicken, right? We can also talk about these kind of things, but I think it's very important, just like when people are continuously investigating and trying to figure out their past lives, to not get lost in it. Because we are mental state designed in a way that we want to focus on something to understand. And where I'm at right now in my life is I don't want to understand it. It's okay that I don't understand. All I know that God exists in so many forms, so many ways, so many dimensions, and I embrace it. As soon as I label it, and as soon as I try to put it in a box, right away, the essence of God is falsified. So that's all I can say right now.
You know, from my perspective, that is today, I am trying to configure the idea of free will. Because if you put free will into this perspective view that God is in the elements, so first they were the elements and everything else was creating. So the elements continue to reproduce, and it's infinite. They are in a way eternal, you know. If you burn at whatever temperature, there will still be carbon, you know. You will never destroy it in a way. The elements will remain there. So that God is eternal in a way in terms of the elements themselves. But if you think about the free will goes there because the elements create something that works in a kind of community like we, the body, are, and the spirit as well, because it's a relationship. And with that community, we work in our free will. But the elements will still there. Whatever we decide to do, whatever, even if we, I don't know, maybe we try to kill ourselves, the elements will still be there. It doesn't mean if our heart stops. If the elements are destroyed, the elements will be transferred to earth, and the spirit will go to a place that we still don't know exactly where. So nothing is destroyed. We are just being transferred as a community from this structure of elements into another structure of elements. So,
Agree.
so in this, if you think about all the, if you think like a vitamin C example, it is made of certain elements. If you change the elements, it will become vitamin B or vitamin D. So, but it's the same elements just in a different configuration. And it becomes the free will of that community of elements. So the point is this, which is very, very important. If the elements are the creator, and as the community of them have their own free will, is in a way God has any potential ability to show us like in certain religions like the Bible and Christianity, he guides us in certain paths. So if we think about pain, is it pain a guidance? So is it part of the showing the way point, you know? So we are not expecting like superstition things to come and, you know, it brings this, and so it's something that we are constantly experiencing, and maybe we are not understanding who truly God is. Maybe God is we already understand him now, but we don't agree on the concept of it. That is the element itself. So, like, they say, the hand of God, and he punish us, or, in the Bible, there are many quotes that there is some kind of ruler. So, in a way, if you make mistakes, you get pain, you get suffering. If you eat too much, you have symptoms. So, but is it our own free will that we have eaten too much? It is not God that put the food into our mouths and we indulged ourselves into it. We decided to. And whatever came after, it is the message. So I think we are trying to interpret God as something very big, when eventually God is acting all the time in our simple things. Like pain, for example, is the most basic that everyone experience, the common structure of human being, pain. So I think if we think about God as these elements, as the periodic table, I think it's something that it's maybe more into science, or maybe one day science will help us to understand more this theory. And eventually, whatever comes, it's we are the creators of our own destiny. It's not God. We are. Because God, like pain, send us the message, don't eat this. But if we continue to eat it, it's not God, it's we. So that is this important thing, that sometimes we think that God is above us, but maybe God is below us. So I don't know if this is a bit absurd.
God is not below, God is not above, God is everywhere, Alex. And my opinion, my focus is that how I can connect to this divinity and how I can share this divinity with others. And I don't really want to put into words what God is, because what God is mean to me, it means something else to you. It's like any relationship. We are all experiencing relationships, but all of these relationship has its own dynamics, right? Its own characteristics and challenges. It's the same thing between you and God. It's very personal, intimate. It's a love affair with the divine. It's very intimate. And the biggest take, I think people is trying to rationalize things, because that is losing a lot of freedom from the experience of experiencing this nothingness. Yesterday I wrote a beautiful story. It was called the Trained Soul, and it was perfectly written about God, but the last minute when I finished, I lost all the work I've done for at least 3-4 hours work of this beautiful writing. And I thought that, okay, thank you, God, I understood. I'm not supposed to have it. And it's all good. I let everything now go. Everything is for me is now is about letting go, being completely surrendered to the will of God. I don't need to understand. I only want to understand myself, because if I understand myself, only then, through myself, I can understand my Creator. Particles, not particles, down or up. When I get to know myself, I don't know how my body works. That is also a magical cohesion between millions of and billions of atoms working in harmony together. I don't need to understand. But I do need to understand how I can make it work, how I can make it real, how I can open my heart, even when it hurts. When I suffer, how can I still look towards the light and walk towards the light? That's my biggest message to you right now.
So if you could translate for me nothingness,
Yes.
what is for you?
Nothingness is an eternal spaciousness where there is nothing else but love. There is no blockages. There are no frameworks. There are no this way or that way, where there is only this oneness, pure consciousness, where only light can shine, and there's no more shadows. And that's the place I like to be. It's very hard to be while I'm in this body and in these circumstances which we are all facing. But nevertheless, I can visit that place. And that place is where I belong and where we all belong. And when I explore that and come back, I have no doubt that all the pain and suffering I'm going through than other people going through is just a signal to finally realize that it's not real, and to finally realize that it's a guidance towards this spaciousness, this emptiness, which is within ourselves. In fact, if you look science, you can also see that this spaciousness is the biggest part of our body, because between our cells, there is a lot of space. That's why when we talk about the 5 elements, people can easily talk about water, fire, earth, and air. But then the 5th one is a difficult thing. People don't know. They cannot really relate to it, because in order to relate to ether, we need to also experience it. And in order to experience that, we must go beyond this physical form.
So if I ask you, do you believe that nothing and emptiness exists?
I stopped believing also. That's another strong statement when you say, do I believe? Because I believed in so many things, and then that belief was completely shattered. So at this stage in my life, I just want to explore, and I don't want to believe. I want to experience it. And maybe you want me to give you A or B, but I don't want any A or Bs. I just want to be. And in that beingness, there is that nothingness.
Mm. Okay. So I'll check about this as well. So this is something else that came into my mind, and I called it eventually the Trinity Principle. And this is something which is related to the Trinity of the Christianity, which is God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus. And when I think about this, maybe it is also referring to God, Spirit, and matter. And matter could be Jesus in a human form, or all the manifestations of God, whatever they are, from the smallest elements to the biggest. And when you think also, it came to my mind that maybe you can relate this with water. Water, there is air, can be in the air as a fluid or as a solid. So there is a kind of trinity as well. And it's something that it's a constant going. It's like the uh, how to say, the mirror of the microcosm and the macrocosm. It's like a reflection, just in a bigger way. And I think this is something that to understand God more is to understand also how the universe works. So in a way, I understand that you are into nothingness, but certain people, they need something as to go a step beyond and beyond and beyond until they arrive into where you arrive. So telling people just nothingness, I think it's like trying to teach a baby pure mathematics. So eventually you need to step by step teach how to speak, what language, the numbers, and so on. So what I'm trying to do is, together with this conversation, I am trying to digest it as much as possible. I am recording it, maybe I can share it as well. So people slowly will try to understand and maybe get into this place of nothingness. So that is the idea.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a beautiful idea. I think that's what takes you somewhere. It's all about you exploring, not about what people say and you make it believe or make it yours. It's your experience. People so much downgrading their own power. People want to learn everything from others because that's what we learned since childhood. You know, we were always learning from our parents, learning from our teachers, learning from our masters. But then there is a missing link, and that is learning in solitude. Because in solitude, there are many more masters, which have no names, no titles, no marketing. And for me, that's now what I always tell people, that why meditation is very important, because that's where we can explore that. We all need it, because if we always try to imitate or follow, it's a good beginning, but it won't take you there, because there will be questions and struggles, sufferings in your life where you cannot get the answer from the outside world, from other sources. You need to find it within yourself. No one will be able to give you the answer but you. And if others give you the answer, that's their solutions. You are the only entity in this reality who knows the answer. And that entity is actually within, which is connected to this higher consciousness. So we can say that that knowledge is actually coming from your higher self, but it's there. And the more you go into solitude, the more you experience that, the more you understand it. I'm in a position right now that because of COVID, I'm given this opportunity to be in solitude for maybe it's going to be 3 months, separated from my family, from my wife, which is a very painful experience for me right now, because I've been married for 16 years. I have 2 beautiful children, and now I'm living in an apartment which is filled of so much memories and love, and it's empty. And it feels like my arms are caught, my legs are caught. So this internal transformation and realization is really helping me a lot to embrace what I'm talking about to you right now, in solitude.
Because pain is like equals to a revelation as well. It's a kind of revelation. If there is no pain, you are not sensitive to anything. You cannot understand what is going on. So in a way, the more painful your life, which the manifestations of God are a very good example of that,
Exactly.
the more you are revealed. So in a way, I like this beautiful expression, revealed. So when I think about meditation, and thank you for you that I know what is it, and I think I was doing it without anyone teaching me, because I was in deep solitude when I was young. So in a way, it's kind of automatic. And when you think about these revelations, is it truly us, or we are the medium of this cosmic intelligence or this cosmic library? Maybe we, that you say, have the message inside. Maybe it's the instrument that decodes this message that is coming. But we are not the intelligence. We are part of it. So that is different, because we are always learning from someone else, whether it's matter or spirit or God. So it's something that it's a constant revelation, constant learning. So if we think about uh, thought and will are for spirits, as hands and feet are to humans. It's something that this is something that really blows my mind, because when I am now going deep into the spirit world and trying to understand what I am in reality, I am thought and will. I am consciousness. And these will be my hands and feet after this organic body. And when we think, when I made like a study, we study, an example, which is the most speed that we can reach is the speed of light. No, it is the speed of thought. That is the most fastest way we can travel, is the speed of thought. That is energy. So it's something that it's very beautiful to discover. I am into the beginning of understanding what is there.
I think there is there is faster than the speed of thought.
Yeah.
But for that, you need to go into solitude, and because a thought is already a processing, processing through the mind. And what I'm talking about when we talked about emptiness, there's a different speed of processing there, where the thoughts are not getting in the way. But I want you to explore yourself. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
For your invitation.
Yeah. And there is one last thing.
Okay.
According to you, what is there in common between a human ringing a bell and the same bell being rang by the wind?
The sound, which is common.
The sound is common. Let us put it into more an intelligent way, into consciousness. Is it when we ring, we try to bring up consciousness to someone, to put a signal? It's like, when there is like noon, there is the bells going on, so we identify it's noon. But when the wind rings the bell, is there any signal in this? No, it's just nature. Is it
nature or any forces in life is just as important as your consciousness. So when we are thinking with human primarity, that we are, the top of the pyramid, we are neglecting God consciousness, which is just as grateful in a stone, which is not moving in your eyes, and it seems like it has no intelligence, or a tree which has been standing there for hundreds of years, than you who think that you are the one who's changing the world. So as soon as we separate ourselves, or putting us higher or lower, again we are judging. And we are judging God for its creation. That's why I told you that I stopped actually to make choices, like rigid choices, that it's A or B, because the greatest teaching I learned throughout the years is the teaching where you are able to say, I don't know. And when you say that, I don't know, it gives you a door opening into this emptiness. And this I don't know creates you that thirst for this higher consciousness. But whenever you think you know, that's when you spiritually actually die. That's when you start to degrade or stagnate, if I can say, but stagnation doesn't exist. So whenever the mind say, I know, that's when you stopped your awakening, the process of awakening. So whatever you realize and whatever you say, this is the reality, right away, just keep it open. Don't make a final solutions, because nothing is final. Everything is infinite, you know? As you said, even your body, when it goes back, it's recycling, right? So if you believe that everything is infinite, then there is no ultimate, this is the right. That's the problem with all religions. That they say that they know the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is continuously unfolding in every single soul's life. I'm focusing on my soul's life. I don't mind about others in a way that I want to convince them, or I want to make them believe in this or that. I used to do that because I felt that, you know, I know the truth, but I don't know. And I will never know. And that's what makes it so exciting, because the journey is also eternal. So you cannot grasp anything. You cannot hold on to that now I have it, you know? And the mind wants to own your wife, own your children, own your business, own your houses, own everything, because it makes you feel that you belong to somewhere. But what I'm teaching to people is that you belong nowhere. You are nothing and everything at the same time. And that same time means now, right now. You are nothing and everything, because I don't know about tomorrow. And I don't know about the past, because it's gone. It has no reality anymore. So what I focus in my whole life is to stay fully in this moment and observe what is happening to me right now, why I feel this way, what I feel, where is it coming from, what is the teaching, and what I need to do in order to move on to the next level of consciousness, and how can I love more. Everything, Alex, is love. So what is God? To go back to the beginning of our question, very simple. God is love. That's it. And my job and yours and everyone's is how we can circulate that within ourselves, which is called self-love, self-appreciation, and how we can circulate it to all my relationships, even to those who hate me, who wants to degrade me or blame me or victimizing me. This is all just lack of love. And all I can do to support that person is to love her more than ever, or love him. Because love is the only solution to everything in life. If there's one solution to everything, that's love.
No, what you made me think, because we think of A or B. And maybe it's not an or, it's an and. There is no or. It's a constant and.
Exactly.
A and B and C and D, whatever.
Yes. Yes,
No?
because we are in spaciousness, emptiness. There are endless options, opportunities. Okay.
Very beautiful, very beautiful. So thank you for that. It was very exciting to share this with you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I encourage you to keep on going, keep on moving forward towards the light.
Thank you very much, Balazs.
You're welcome.